Well, Zoe is a calming dog for me. I got PTSD from whenever I was in Vietnam, and it affects me today in my ability. And Zoe, she senses whenever I get upset and angry, and she calms me down. And she's my calming factor. She has been a good dog, and if I had known that Gina was coming over, I would have put Zoe up. We have no, like I said, she was on a leash, but the leash was just too long. It was about a foot too long outside of our garage. But Zoe she's protective of me too.
I'll let you go ahead and take it. Do you want to call any witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Gina Torres, Your Honor. Ma'am, I know I just asked your name, but can you please state your name and for the record?
Gina Torres.
Were you bitten by a dog on May 3rd, 2025?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you suffer a serious bodily injury as a result of this?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you when you were attacked by this dog?
I was standing in the driveway with my back turned to the garage, and it came out of the garage.
And whose driveway were you standing in? The Gaunt's?
Yes, ma'am.
Is their driveway located in the city of Denton, county of Denton, state of Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you there?
It was prom night, and our kids have been, good friends since kindergarten. And my son had borrowed a watch for his photo prop, and I was returning a watch.
And you were outside in the driveway, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The Gaunt's dog, and it's Guantt, came out of the garage?
You have the spelling wrong. It's Gaunt.
Miss Torres, was this dog large, black and white, Australian Kelpie type dog, or do you know?
Yes, from what I remember, but I wouldn't say large. I would say medium size.
Medium size. And where did you have any warning the dog was about to attack you?
No.
Where were you bitten? What part of your body?
I was bitten in my right calf, and then he got me a little bit on my left upper thigh.
And you...
I think the dog is a she.
Okay. And she bit you, you had to go get staples for the injury?
Mm-hmm. I had 4 staples put in my right calf.
And so it took like a hunk of skin, flesh out, is that correct?
Correct.
I have a picture of your injury. Do you know what day that was taken?
I think it was from the ER, when we went straight to the ER.
Okay,
the 3rd.
I showed you the picture. Would you be able to testify whether the photo clearly and accurately depicts your injury that occurred on May 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
Can everyone see this photo?
Not yet. There it is.
Yeah.
Miss Torres, does this photo clearly and accurately depict the injury to your right calf that you suffered from the dog belonging to the Gants?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did Mr. or Mrs. Gant come outside and retrieve the dog?
Yes, she was standing out there and she got the dog off.
You got your staples out today, correct?
Yesterday.
Were you on antibiotics for this injury?
I was.
And you went to the emergency room to get treated on the day of the injury?
Correct.
This occurred about 7:30 at night outside of their home. Is that correct?
Correct.
The officers described the laceration as 2 to 3 inches in length, and it was deep with your tissue exposed.
Yes.
So it severely ripped the flesh on your right calf.
Correct.
Madam Prosecutors, do you have anything else? Do you want to call any other witnesses?
Levon Gant. Ma'am, can you, I know, same thing as Ms. Torres, can you just state your name for the record, even though I just asked you your name?
Levon Gant.
Are you the owner of the dog that bit Miss Torres?
Well, my husband and I are the owners.
But you all own the dog?
Yes.
And you saw the bite, is that correct?
Yes.
Miss Torres was standing in your driveway to return a watch that belonged to y'all?
Yes.
I assume it was daylight because it's spring now at 7:30, is that correct?
Yes.
And what's the dog's age and approximate breed?
I think she's around 3 years old, and she's part Kelpie or all Kelpie.
And what's her name?
Zoe, Zoey.
And she is black and white, is that correct?
Mostly black with white on her chest.
You're the one that got the dog off of Miss Torres and took the dog back in the house, I presume?
Yes.
How long have you had Zoe?
3 years.
Miss Torres, she was there to drop off something, and Zoe was not restrained at the time that this occurred.
She was restrained. She was on a leash in the garage. However, the leash was too long. That's why she was able to reach Gina.
I know this is upsetting for everybody, and you know this was filed by Animal Services, not by Children's.
Oh, yes, I do know that.
Yes. Because of the severity of the bite, they felt like they needed to file it whether Miss Torres did or not. I'm really, really sorry that this happened, and I know y'all are friends, but they felt like it was the right thing to do. So you understand Animal Services filed this case, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Levon, do you have anything that you want to cover?
Well, my husband would like to say something. Is that allowed?
All right, what is it that you would like to say?
Well, Zoe is a calming dog for me. I got PTSD from whenever I was in Vietnam, and it affects me today in my abilities. And Zoe, she senses whenever I get upset and angry, and she comes and she calms me down, and she's my calming factor there. And, she has been a good dog. And if I had known that Gina was coming over, I would have put Zoe up. We have like I said, she was on a leash, but the leash was just too long. It was about a foot too long outside of our garage. And, but Zoe she's protective of me too. And what she did was wrong. I'll admit that. But but she is the only thing that keeps me calm and keeps me focused. She is.
Anything else you want to cover? Okay, Stephanie, Madam Prosecutor.
State calls Officer Turner. Sir, can you please state your name?
Craig Turner,
What is your occupation?
Senior Animal Services Officer.
Okay, and you are not the main investigating Animal Services officer on this case, is that correct?
Correct.
But the Animal Services officer on this case had a medical dental emergency, is that correct?
That is correct.
But you had some involvement in the service of the paper, is that correct?
Yes.
And how long have you been an Animal Services worker?
Coming up 6 years.
And have you seen other dog bite injuries before?
Yes.
In your experience, say this is on the spectrum is towards the definitely more serious end.
Correct.
Do you believe this could happen again?
Yes.
Have you been around the dog?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion based on observing the animal?
There's a large amount of fear when trying to handle, or because we use our restraint poles in order to handle any bite animals in our rabies quarantine section. And it took 2 of us to get her back inside the first few days. She would retreat to the back of our outdoor runs. We place the dogs outside during cleaning, and it's behavior. She's giving the whale eye, side eye, hard stare, that if you were to further encroach her space, that I do firmly believe she would bite even us if we were to attempt to approach, even just because the outdoor runs are about 8 foot long. So when they go to the back of that run, getting to them is a little bit more on the dangerous side if you were to step into those runs. But I do firmly believe, observing her behavior, that she would bite us if we were to have pressed into her space.
So you believe she's likely to have a future bite of another human based on like fear-based attacking, basically?
Correct.
Pass the witness.
Do we have any history? We'll start with Officer Turner. Any other prior history with this animal?
I don't know with the animal specifically. I do know that there were a few calls back in 2023 to that address, 4 vicious animal calls. Not certain if the Gants were living there at that time, but we did have prior vicious animal calls to that address with education to the resident of that home on restraining their dog and preventing it from, leaving the property, or in this case, whether it's on a leash, keeping it from running out to bite somebody.
It was an at-large call?
Correct.
Levon or Wayman, can y'all give background on that? Do y'all know?
We had another dog at that time, Taffy. She was a golden retriever. She since had cancer, and we had to put her down recently, but I don't really know.
But Zoe's never gotten away or gotten out.
I don't know. I don't know. Retriever for years, like she was 12 or 13. I don't really know. So I don't really know what dog they were talking about.
And no one ever talked to us about it.
That would have been a 1-year-old-ish. Zoe would have been around 1 at the time. So I don't know that we've ever had a golden as a dangerous dog or they will love you to death, but we've never had a dog bite with a golden. They are huge and can be seen as, they're attacking me, but they're just going to attack you with
And
you all know that.
She would bark. And there would be people that would walk their dog on the street and go out and bark at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we always kept them on leashes. But every once in a while, door would go open. The kids, we got 4 grandkids that live with us, and they would leave a door open and the dog would get out.
We're talking about the golden retriever, especially.
Yeah.
When the door was open, she would try to get out.
How old are the grandkids now?
19, 18,
Okay.
14, and 12.
Okay.
The 19-year-old graduated. The 18-year-old's graduating this week. And then Nala's in 8th grade. Matthew's in 6th.
Busy household.
Yeah.
Busy household. All right. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. With the background, we're definitely at the state law has been met. So the question is what to do with the animal. Without prior history, the court's inclined to request that the state approve downgrading to dangerous dog incident and doing conditions instead of going ahead with humanely euthanizing the dog. But I'll grab the state's opinion on that. I know the injuries are more serious, but
A standard dangerous dog city ordinance order.
right.
That's fine, Your Honor.
And it's still in line with
I should have
822,
asked.
but
I should have asked Miss Torres. Is Miss Torres available?
yeah, she's still here.
Miss Torres, a dangerous dog finding under the city ordinance would allow the dog not to be euthanized, but they would have to make sure they had the proper enclosure under state law. The dog was never outside without a muzzle, that they had an insurance policy if someone got injured, and there's some other requirements about signage and whatnot. They would work out with animal services and comply with the order. How do you feel about that? Is that I don't want to put you up.
No, that's okay. You know, I'm a huge dog lover. I have a dog myself. I don't know anything about their dogs, so, you know, that would be a hard decision for me to make, but I am okay with them not euthanizing the dog.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, it's not that I'm, opposed in the right situation to going ahead and making difficult calls. So animal services, they love animals too. They get into the business because they love animals. And so them having to do euthanasia is not fun. I know the prosecutor loves animals and I've got dogs. So, I mean, that's never the point that we're going to avoid it because we don't want to make the tough call. It's just, Mr. Wayman, your background and history with the animal also comes into play here too, that your service to the country doesn't excuse a dog. If this was like a death situation, like, of course, then we'd have no choice but to put the dog down. But I want to absolutely, where possible, defer to you and say, like, if you think the animal can exist in the world without causing trauma to the community, then I'm going to defer to your decision on that one. So the one thing I want to address before we get to what those conditions look like is the issue of tethering. And I have not glanced at law recently. Officer Turner can jump in, but we can't have dogs even in the garage on a leash tied up like that. Officer Turner, can you provide the background on when we can do that, or is it's never
tethering? Yes, it would be as long as they remain with the animal, but under definition of legally restrained, the animal would have to be restrained on a leash no longer than 6 feet. So it depends how you're looking at that side of things, that if you're tethering an animal on a 20-foot tether, that might be not seen as legally restrained because it goes beyond the limits of, essentially like a driveway that dog could reach out into public sidewalks or an area that the dog shouldn't be running out to.
So the thought with tethering is to give the animal some freedom and allow it to move around in a possible safe way. But if you are within Denton city limits, they've restricted the ability to tether animals outside. So I'd just be careful on that one. I know that was the scenario here, that the dog was on a rope release or something in the garage / front yard. So I'd look at that a little more. You should be able to do a Google search, or Officer Turner can reach out to you directly and give you more information if you need to.
And Your Honor, if I may interject here, if the dog was on a leash 6 feet or less and they remained with the dog, that would be legal leashing. But if the dangerous dog order is in place, it's on a leash and they're outside with it, it would need to be muzzled if it goes outside the house.
And that's no problem. We'll muzzle
Okay.
her.
Awesome. And if she's inside or in a secure enclosure, then she doesn't have to have the muzzle on. If you want to throw it on, if you've got folks coming over, then that's fine too. So main conditions are and you can look at homeowners insurance to get an add-on, I think is what people do, but you have to have
We've already got it.
Okay,
We've
perfect.
got
Insurance in place for future dog bite, register with animal services. So we'll get those orders emailed out. I think we've got emailed because we sent you a link for this Zoom hearing. If there's any violation that kind of causes concerns, then we are going to have to look at kind of other options. As long as y'all follow the order for the life of the animal, then
We will. Your Honor, thank you
Yes.
very much.
yes, sir.
We really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And it's hard for me to get my breath and to walk any distance.
During COVID, we had lots of practice with doing video calls for animal hearings. We just did them all the time. But recently we've moved back to in-person for animal issues, but we still do Zoom for like traffic type charges. That concludes the hearing.
I just want to thank Gina so much.
Yeah.
Thank Gina so much.
No,
Me too. No, that's wonderful. It sounds like you're great neighbors, and I hope everybody heals emotionally and physically, Miss Torres, and emotionally, the Gants, and we just go forward from here. Craig and Crystal at Animal Services will take care of you, and I hope that everybody has a good day and appreciate everyone in the court as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.